Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Rev Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you are with us this morning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome also to those of you joining us via our live stream or YouTube. Especially welcome to Lawrence if you are watching. We are celebrating your 89th birthday from afar. Today's service is called The Ancient Path, and it's all about labyrinths. But before we begin our worship service, we have just a few announcements. As you know, the devastation in Syria and Turkey after the recent earthquake has reached just incomprehensible scale. We would really like to do something here at the Meetinghouse. Maybe you're feeling that way too. So John Thomas is arranging a benefit concert on Sunday, March 12th at 5 o'clock. And the music will be from that region, and all the proceeds will go to Doctors Without Borders, who are already on the ground doing amazing work and saving lives. So we hope you can join us on March 12th, and that will also be live streamed. I wanted to give you an update that our office administrator, Kenneth's ankle surgery went really well this week. I know you were all holding him in prayer. He is in good spirits and ready to begin his healing journey. So I thank you so much to those of you who have volunteered to bring meals and who have been covering in the office. And a reminder that we will have limited office hours while he is out. So basically we'll be here Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 11 to 2, but please call ahead before coming by. Tuesday morning from 10 to noon, we have our next Winter Spirituality Series offering. Don Walsh, an end-of-life doula and death educator, will be presenting on death with dignity. We have so many choices in our living, but what choices do we have in our dying? She will be talking about our choices at end of life, including medical aid in dying and voluntarily stopping eating and drinking. If this topic interests you, we hope that you can join us. Our soul collage workshops start up on Monday afternoons, beginning March 6th. Come get creative with magazine images, scissors, and glue, and explore your inner landscape while getting to know others in the group. And finally, we invite you to coffee hour downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall after the service. Hope you can join us. For those of you who don't know, we've been really trying to be hardy, doing it outside, but we're gonna move it in, and I hope you can stay. Let's take a moment now to affirm our Meetinghouse covenant. I will say a line, and then you can say it back to me. Love is the spirit of this Meetinghouse.
Love is the spirit of this Meetinghouse.
This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace. To seek the truth in love. And to help one another. Now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us from home to light a candle wherever you are. In that way, we can feel connected even while we are apart. And here in the sanctuary, I invite Bruce and Marcia to light our chalice this morning.
May the flame of this candle welcome all we carry with us today. Joy and hope, grief and worry for the world, all dancing together in our hearts and in the flickering of this flame, held by this chalice, held by this community.
Please join me now in a time of meditation and prayer. During the prayer or at any time during the service, you're welcome to light a silent candle at the table to the right of the pulpit, where there is a journal to record your thoughts and prayers. After the prayer, we will sing together Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123. You can also find the words to this song printed on the purple laminated cards in your pews. We continue to hold in prayer all those in Turkey and Syria as they grieve and recover from the earthquake. We hold on our hearts students at Michigan State University and all those who live in fear of gun violence. We lift up all those in the world who are suffering and pray for ease, peace, and healing. We hold in our embrace all those in this community who are dealing with anxiety, grief, the winter blues. And we make room also for all those joys that we are carrying. New grandchildren, teenagers finding their way, the love of community, the way our hands fit perfectly around our favorite cup in the morning. Sometimes the joys feel small alongside the sorrows, but we remind ourselves that it is small joys that have gotten us through every hard thing so far. Small joys and the passage of time and the utter resilience of the human spirit. For these gifts, we lift our thanks and praise this day. Amen. I invite Dana to offer our first reading this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the honor to read this. Found While Lost by Eric W. Martinez Resley. The beauty of the world is the mouth of a labyrinth, writes Simone Weil. We would be foolish not to follow its call, and so we enter the labyrinth, lured by the whiff of a dream still in the making, the possibility of a new relationship, the promise of a new career, the potential for a new beginning. We can never be sure what we'll find once inside, but this much is certain. There will be times when the beauty of the world, and with it the entrance of the labyrinth, unexpectedly disappear. Some relationships will disintegrate. Some careers will dissatisfy. Some beginnings will disappoint. Unable to find the labyrinth's opening, we often find ourselves in frantic search of an escape, fumbling for the next step, tiring ourselves in the process. Disheartened, dispirited, we feel disoriented. We got lost. The question is not whether we will get lost in life, but rather how will we move through it in faith? Will we dwell on everything we have lost? Or will we focus instead on everything that we have yet to find? As it happens, there is much that awaits us in our lostness, much to excavate, examine, even exalt. In not yet knowing what will be, we are afforded the opportunity to appreciate what is, what already is. The things hiding in plain sight, a frayed relationship, for example, may reveal a deeper need. An unfulfilling career may motivate us to seek out a mentor. A misstart or misstep may remind us of our fragile humanity. It may claw open hearts and sensitize us to the sufferings of others. When lost, perhaps the greatest question our faith asks us is this: how will we be found? Once the time is ripe, the stars align, and the way begins to open, we will be ready to embrace the mystery anew. Will we choose to trust anew, to risk anew, to hope anew? Will we allow ourselves to yet again be drawn in, swept up, taken over by the magic that makes life worth living? In the words of Simone Weil, for if we do not lose courage, if we go on walking, it is absolutely certain that we will finally arrive at the center of the labyrinth. And there, God is waiting.
Won't you please join me in singing a hymn? This one is in Singing the Journey. It's number 1015. It's called I Know I Can. Number 1015 in Singing the Journey, I Know I Can. Please rise as you are able. Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can. know I can go on. So brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on. Whew, how good it is to sing together again. You may be seated. Whew. I invite Jeffrey to read our next reading.
Good morning. The Journey by Mary Wellmeyer. It's a pilgrimage, like a trek around Mount Kailash, or perhaps Bodh Gaya, but it's life itself, the whole thing, every moment. On the high passes of Mount Kailash, pilgrims hope for a kind of death, a rebirth of spirit. And it's not a bad thing to go there, do that, if time allows, time and money allow. But what of this journey of every day, and what can we learn from the pilgrims here? They, lightheaded in the altitude, gasping in amazement at the alternation of clear, bright sunlight and wind-blown snows amid the vast, craggy highlands and steep, worn paths. It seems to me a wind blows here from Mount Kailash or somewhere, and so pilgrims of sidewalk and parking lot are sometimes taken unawares, not so much by wind-blown snows as by apples in the supermarket or sunshine through the trees. Next to the school, we gasp in amazement, lifted from our everyday selves for no reason at all. Let it be a pilgrimage each day, and may our journeys all be blessed.
And our final reading will be offered by Bruce.
Footpath by Nancy Schaefer. I have made friends with a footpath, called by its silence and age, how it lies steeply between one winding street and the next. I come at dusk from house-crowded streets to this hushed passageway. The footpath tilts subtly left and then right, all down its length, never more than 2 successive steps slanted in one direction. The path has lifted, as earth beneath it lifted, has cracked, all other possibility long taken. Moss grows on step edges chipped by winter, weight of feet. It arranges relationship, has found soil enough, water enough light. It dares live in this middle, possible but unexpected. The silence is that held time before knowing, that filled time prior to worded thought. In it, I am held all through my stepping, in my pauses. I am apprenticed through my limbs to inventiveness, patience. Overhead, pyracanthus bend their branches one single cloud. Birches bend and hawthorns silk oaks and magnolias, darker than the darkening sky, shelter to this secret. By the blackberry and lily, in shadowed licorice fern and ivy, in steps old and cracked out of plain, a labyrinth is laid, a prayer to walk, the soul to learn by bone, the bone, the soul.
Thank you, readers. Now is the time when we take a collection for the ongoing support of this Meetinghouse and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection by our choir, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. I invite 4 volunteer ushers, whoever gets up first, forward to take up our collection. On and off site, your offerings will now be gratefully received. Thank you. On my 3rd trip to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, we finally had a whole day off to simply enjoy the city. Mostly we were there to work, to gut and rehab people's houses, and also to work on one of the Unitarian Universalist churches that had sustained a lot of damage. But on this 3rd trip, things were starting to open up again. Stores and restaurants and museums. We had seen a lot of hard things on these 3 trips. A lot of loss and pain and grief. We had seen none of the beauty of the city, and we were ready to. Our crew was almost all women on that trip, and we decided on our day off to go to an exhibit of impressionist paintings of women called Femme, Femme, Femme. The paintings were on loan from museums all over France as a symbol of support to a struggling sister city. We wandered around the exhibit, soaking in the images of these women with their parasols and fans and flowing skirts. So different than what we looked like most days, dirty, covered in sweat and plaster dust, tired from using our bodies all week in ways we weren't used to. Leaving the museum, we were feeling giddy and silly and kept chanting, "Femme, femme, femme! Femme, femme, femme!" as a very patient fellow volunteer named Jim drove us around in our rental van to the next stop on our journey, a healing labyrinth built after the hurricanes. Now, I had always dreamed of walking a labyrinth ever since I saw the movie. Do you know the one with David Bowie? Labyrinth? Shoot, this is gonna... Okay. I was totally drawn into this movie by the magical maze, the goblins, the trapdoors. Even if you haven't seen the movie, can you tell this story is leading towards disappointment? I mean, I figured a healing labyrinth wouldn't have any trapdoors or anything, but as we drove, I envisioned and was looking for high brick walls and rows of closely planted shrubs. When we finally saw the sign for the labyrinth, we burst out of the van as one, and our eyes scanned the park, our spirits falling as they finally rested on a small, flat, brick and concrete design inlaid in the pavement. What was this? This was it? Trying not to look as disheartened as I felt, I approached the brick design. We'd come all this way, I might as well walk the labyrinth, such that it was. I had zero expectations at this point that this was going to be a meaningful experience. I followed the path into the design, and then it turned, and I followed it again. I looped around and then back in on myself. I kept thinking I was about to reach the center, but the path would turn again. There was no maze element. You could not get lost or go the wrong way if you followed the pattern. But it took a long time. The path wound around and around, taking forever to trace foot over foot. And yet I can't even begin to describe the transformation that took place on that slow walk. The healing energy of the labyrinth was palpable, culminating at the center in a cloverleaf design where I stood, arms outstretched for what seemed like hours. Others joined me, and they too reached out their arms instinctively, like we were all being embraced by the healing energy of that labyrinth. I hadn't even realized how much I needed it. A man in a suit and tie made his way in as I made my way out. I could only hope that on his journey he would find what I had found: deep peace, calm, and healing. Before leaving the park, we got together as a group and cried and prayed and spoke about our experience of walking the labyrinth. It was hard to put into words. When I got back to Boston, I tried again. This is what I wrote: The Healing Labyrinth. Somehow we know, without being told, how to navigate this labyrinth. It's a familiar path to us, this universal path of grief. We slowly wind ourselves toward the center, losing ourselves in the task, tuning in and out to the world around us, steady on our course of tearfulness and longing. Others walk with us, and yet our wandering is solitary, circling in and out, taking our time to reach the center. Instinctively, we know we must stay there for a while, sit with our grief, allow it to wash over us, fill us up, empty us out. Allow ourselves to absorb the strength to start the journey again, digging ourselves out, hammering our way out, building our way out, walking the path of grief again in reverse. We slowly spiral toward the edge, so many times feeling it must be the end, and then being drawn back in toward the center. We feel the grace of, but find no shortcuts to this journey. And so we continue on the path of healing, deferring to others as they make their way in, circling toward the center of their grief as we make our way out of our own. Our hearts somehow mended by the labyrinth, the path we have all walked together. I didn't know back when I walked my first labyrinth, or when I wrote that piece, that people have been experiencing the same ancient path, the same ancient healing for over 4,000 years. 15 of us are signed up to walk a labyrinth this afternoon as part of our winter spirituality series. So I figured today was a good day to talk about labyrinths. In case any of you have also been picturing tall hedges and dark corridors, I'll tell you that there is only one way in and one way out of a labyrinth. No dead ends, just a center, which is a very powerful space, even if it is flat. If you're not paying attention, you can get slightly confused in a labyrinth, but if you are watching your feet, you cannot get lost. You can get found. Like Stonehenge and the pyramids, labyrinths are geometric designs that were built by human hands, but inspired by something otherworldly. The shape itself creates sacred space in an unexplainable way. Some ancient mystery. The Hopi Indians of North America had a symbol for Mother Earth taken from the spiral form that they saw throughout nature that looks exactly like the classical seven-path labyrinth. Rock surfaces carved in the Southwest and current-day California date back 700 years, and rock carvings in England and Ireland date all the way back to the Bronze Age, all with a labyrinth design. You can also find them on Greek coins from the 5th century BCE and the floor of the Chartres Cathedral in France, built in the 1200s. Labyrinths have been found on every continent in the world except Antarctica. There are variations, of course, several different patterns, the two most well-known being the classical 7-circuit labyrinth, which is said to correspond with the 7 chakras, and the medieval 11-circuit labyrinth, which is the design on the floor of Chartres Cathedral, which looks kind of like the cross-section of a brain. Labyrinths have been associated with the feminine divine, as well as with Christian pilgrimages. It gives me goosebumps to think about how cultures so far from each other, with such different traditions, climates, dates, could all come up with this shared sacred design. Maybe they were better at listening to the wisdom of the earth, the universe, than us. What else could we hear if we were better at listening? What ancient patterns would we see? Dr. Lauren Artress is a San Francisco-based Episcopal priest and psychotherapist who fell in love with labyrinths when she stumbled upon the one in Chartres Cathedral. It was covered with chairs at the time and largely invisible from years of disuse, but she and 5 of her colleagues moved 256 chairs to the sides and walked the 11th Circuit design, and it changed her life. She said it was like opening her sealed orders, and now it is her life's mission to share labyrinths with others. She wrote a book called Walking a Sacred Path, and she started a foundation called Veriditas, which maps labyrinths all over the world onto a website so that you can look them up and find them. There are 4,567 sites in the US and more than 6,000 worldwide. She brings labyrinths to prisons, parks, retreat centers, public schools, and churches. She calls them watering holes for the spirit. Why does the labyrinth attract people, she asks? Because it is a tool to guide healing, deepen self-knowledge, and empower creativity. Walking the labyrinth clears the mind and gives insight into the spiritual journey. It calms people in the throes of life transitions. To those of us who feel we have untapped gifts to offer, it stirs the creative fires within. To others who are in deep sorrow, the walk gives solace and peace. The experience is different for everyone, she says, because each of us brings different raw materials to the labyrinth. We bring our unique hopes, dreams, history, and longings of the soul. There is no right or wrong way to walk a labyrinth, although you are encouraged to do it slowly. And some people find it helpful to think of phases of the journey, like entering, centering, turning, returning, or release, receive, return. If we were to map these phases onto our own lives, what phase would you be in? I'm not sure exactly how the labyrinth gives its wisdom, but I think it somehow draws it out of us, that we are already carrying inside of us something, a grief, a dream, a gratitude, and the slow pattern of circling and circling back on ourselves somehow allows us to access that inner knowledge. It doesn't happen to me every time I walk a labyrinth. The mind and heart can be extremely distracted and disengaged. If the first time you walk a labyrinth, you're like, I don't get it. What was she talking about? Be gentle with yourself, but also try again. Because if I really turn myself over to it, it pretty consistently does its magic. So I love to find them wherever I can. College campuses, church parking lots. Here are a few that I know of on Cape Cod. The Heritage Gardens in Sandwich, Chase Park in Chatham, the Federated Church of Orleans. Just go to their parking lot in the back. It's open all the time. A backyard in Truro. Each fall, just before Thanksgiving, we create a gratitude labyrinth on our front lawn here at the Meetinghouse with chalk spray paint and invite the community and the students at the school to walk it and leave canned goods for the food pantry around the edges. We did that this year. And I also remember getting ready to do this back in 2016. It had been a hard few weeks, a hectic schedule, budget season, computer issues, broken pipes at home and water in the basement, hurt feelings. It was the end of a long day, not much sleep, and having to say goodbye to a good life in the ICU at the hospital. And no sermon written, though it was the day for that. And it was dark. So early in the day, it was dark and cold. And the day wasn't over yet. One more obligation scheduled months ago, an evening worship service at a residential school in Brewster. So instead of getting into my pajamas and crawling into bed early on this cold night, I bundle up along with members of the worship committee and head out in the dark to lead a service for students whose disabilities make it difficult for them to go to church. It starts out slowly. Only one person is there when the appointed hour arrives. The altar is set. Empty chairs wait in a circle. We wonder if maybe this will be the time that nobody comes. And then they begin to trickle in. Half of them in pajamas, wearing slippers, wearing mittens that they keep on their hands all day, most not making eye contact. It takes about 20 minutes for everyone to assemble, each student accompanied by a watchful adult. I ring the worship bell. Then a few more people arrive. I ring it again, and we begin. We sing "For the Beauty of the Earth." We introduce ourselves and each say one thing that we've noticed on the altar. We sing again and say a prayer. I teach them about labyrinths and tell them that we will be building a labyrinth at our church for Thanksgiving. I hand out finger labyrinths printed earlier in the week on multicolored cardstock, and I show them how to trace the ancient design with their finger, some of them still in mittens. I ask them to think of something they are grateful for as they trace the path to the center of the labyrinth. We play soft music in the background. The room gets quiet for the first time all night. When the song ends, I invite the group to share what they are grateful for. Hands go up right away, not the hands of the worship committee, but the hands of the students, eager to share with us their many blessings. I'm grateful for my family, they say. My family at home and my family here at school. I'm grateful for my friends, they say. For God, who always forgives us. I'm grateful for this beautiful weather, says a boy, and I marvel that we have just experienced the same day so differently. I'm grateful for my friends, my family, and all the opportunities I've had, says one young woman who we've all come to love. And I'm thankful for my challenges, she says, because they also bring blessings. If it weren't for my brain tumor, she explains, I wouldn't have met so many wonderful people, and I wouldn't know all of you. And suddenly, we all feel incredibly humbled. I feel humbled takes this young woman with a brain tumor to remind me to be thankful for my challenges because they bring blessings. And now the adults are sharing. We all take turns saying what we are thankful for, and somehow we all mean it more than we did a moment ago. After a few moments of silence, I start to move on. "You didn't ask me," says a girl. "What are you grateful for?" I ask her. "I'm grateful for my clothes," she says. On my way home, I am full of gratitude. I'm grateful for the caravan of cars I'm following out of the parking lot, for my people who came out in the cold and dark and drove an hour to be church. Grateful for my family. Grateful for my friends. Grateful for my challenges. Grateful for my clothes. It's a pilgrimage, but it's life itself, the whole thing, every moment. Somehow we know, without being told, how to navigate this labyrinth, this ancient path, the path that we have all walked together. Amen, and blessed be.
It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing out downstairs in AB Hall today or with friends this week. If you want to delve deeper into this conversation, we hope you can join us Tuesday at 5 at our Zoom coffee hour. Our question this week is, walking a labyrinth is a kind of journey. Have you ever taken a journey that helped you gain insight on your life? Walking a labyrinth is a kind of journey. Have you ever taken a journey that helped you gain insight on your life?
Yes, please do join us for coffee hour if you can. And I'll end with these closing words. May you leave here reminded that we are held by an ancient design of the earth's creation, that even our wandering has meaning, and that if we are paying attention, we cannot be lost, but we can be found. Let it be a pilgrimage each day, and may our journeys all be blessed. Go in peace.